We are here in Ocoee, Florida for the Multifamily Mindset Podcast with Tyler Deveraux, a big-time player in the multifamily space. They reached out to me, asked me to come and be on the podcast. It's a huge honor. I'm super excited about it. So we got to come here in person. The office is absolutely amazing. We're going to have a great conversation. Let's get it.
Man, that's what I love about you. All right, hey, welcome to the Own the Outcome podcast. My name is Tyler Deveraux, and today we have Levi Lascsak, bro. And if you guys don't know who Levi is, we're definitely gonna have all of his, socials and everything in the description. But I bet that you've seen some of his videos, especially if you're in the Dallas area or really in the United States area. Because, bro, I saw a bunch of your videos, and I was in Maui.
Oh, nice.
That's when I first ran into you. And if you can't tell, he's wearing a solid, that's the Sunday Swagger.
Oh, yeah, of
solid
course.
Sunday Swagger, which there's different brands, but Sunday Swagger is the best, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get them embroidered, like you've got now. We're gonna turn them all into company shirts. Actually, I went to this company called Custom Patch Hats.
Yeah.
And so they can make these custom patches and everything, which we have, like that patch on Alex's hat. Mm-hmm. So I ordered 100 of those, and then we're just going to get those sewn on Sunday Swagger shirts. So
love it. So
that's what we did. The new company shirts, yeah.
That's what we did. It's funny though, because this is all they wear.
Yeah.
Like it's literally all they wear. And so we bought a whole bunch of them, and a bunch of the team members wear them. But then you have some who they don't want to wear this.
Yeah.
So.
And Sophie was wearing one.
It's Sophie, yep, she's wearing one today.
I noticed that.
That's one of my favorites, the one she's wearing. So, well, bro, welcome to the podcast. Flew in from Dallas. I appreciate you flying in to be here.
Absolutely.
So welcome.
Let me ask you, what were you seeing in Maui? Were you seeing real estate, or were you seeing passive prospecting videos?
I think both, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, but I'm pretty sure, I'll be honest with you, I then went and did a deep dive on your page, so it's hard for me to see, to remember what was on the Explorer.
Yeah.
But... No, I think it was maybe passive prospecting.
Oh, you're on Instagram.
Yeah, I was on IG.
Okay, so Instagram is strictly for, that's like entrepreneur focused.
Okay. So
I don't drive any real estate clients from my Instagram.
Okay.
And I think that's a very important distinction is you want to have a very specific target audience that you're trying to reach on a particular platform. So on YouTube, clearly you can have, two different channels on YouTube. I mean, you could have two different accounts on Instagram as well, but it's like, who do you want to attract? And you could say Instagram is more of my personal brand, but it's also, I'm speaking to entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I never speak about the Dallas real estate market. I don't speak about home prices in Dallas. And just because, and the reality is I don't really want real estate clients knowing that we've got a whole nother business talking about how we generate business from YouTube. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just think it's mixed messages. And I don't want any real estate client going to a YouTube channel to get information about the Dallas market and then seeing me talking about, here's a day in the life of a real estate agent, or, I'm making millions of dollars coaching people how to do exactly what I just think that's a mixed message. Plus, if that's the first video they land on, they're going to probably say, well, I'm trying to learn about moving to Dallas, Texas, or buying a home in Dallas, Texas. This guy's talking about coaching and writing books and all. It wouldn't make sense to them, right? And vice versa. I mean, if I've got somebody, like you, if the first video you saw was thinking of moving to Dallas, Texas, you might say, well, I'm not looking at that. No, I'm moving to Florida, right? Yeah. So you might search that kind of content out. So I think you want to have a very distinct target audience for a platform. And so I've chosen real estate clients for YouTube, and we do have a separate channel, Passive Prospecting, on YouTube, but it completely separate, two different audiences. But I only want to mess with one Instagram.
Yeah.
And so as far as my personal brand, I mean, I'm always going to be speaking to business owners on that channel. So that's the type of people I want to attract, and it attracted the right person, right? Because I'm here now. So
interesting, man. That is, because I do not do what you just said. But listen, I have tons to learn, especially on the organic side. And so we're going to get into what Levi does, but he's a wealth of knowledge dude, you just heard it, what he was talking about on the social side and how he's grown organically through social media. So let's backtrack a little bit and tell him what you do, like at high level what you do.
High level is we attract real estate clients. I'm a licensed real estate agent, although I don't show homes, I don't open doors, I don't write contracts, but I attract real estate clients through YouTube, and we sell them homes. So that's a very high ticket. I'm like a super affiliate for home sales. That's what I do. So the thing is that in the last 3 years from starting the channel from scratch, 0 subscribers, 0 views, we've closed 385 homes and right at $200 million in closed transactions. So, and if you want to do the math on that, that's about 5.3 million in real estate commissions in the last 3 years. And that was organic, 0 ad spend.
Which is incredible.
Which is the power of YouTube. That's why I believe YouTube is the best platform on the planet for business. For long form converts, period. And that's what it does. Short form may get some attraction. It may get people caught up in the mix. But I talk a lot about intention versus interruption. And these short form platforms are interruption marketing, which means if somebody's trying to buy a house, they don't say, hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. Let's go on Facebook and see what's on the market, right? Or let's go to Instagram and see if we can find a really cool real estate agent. Or let's go onto TikTok and see if we can find a dancing real estate agent to help us with our home purchase. No, they say, hey, it's time to buy a house. Let's do some research. I'm either going to go on Google or YouTube, period. I mean, that's where people research. And when they're researching, they're now intentional. So I'm not interrupting them. I just need to figure out what they're searching for and make that type of video. That's what got me found so quickly, is because I didn't guess. I didn't make videos I wanted to make. I went on and looked at search results and said, oh, people are searching these neighborhoods in Dallas, Texas. This is the most searched neighborhood in Dallas, Texas. Well, guess what? Let me make a video on that neighborhood and talk about the real estate and moving there and things to do and the community and the schools. And guess what? Because I picked the suburbs with the highest search results, it put me in front of an immediate audience, right? That were intentional. So if you look over the last, and I've ran all the stats, over the last 3 years, we still average contact to contract is 51 days, which means the first, and these are all inbound leads. Like I've never outbound to anybody. I've never reached out. People call us. And from the first time they call us, which is a cold inbound, really reach out to us, we get them under contract in 51 days.
Which is incredible.
That's how intentional they are, right? Yeah, the average, if you're buying leads on Facebook for real estate, the average conversion is probably longer, is at minimum 9 months, which means you've got to buy leads for 9 months. You've got to talk to a lot of people, and guess what? They're not as intentional either. And so, we just put ourselves in front of the people already searching. And this applies to multifamily. It applies to any type of business. If you're trying to, attract investors or whatever you're doing, you just got to make content on what investors are looking for.
So let's talk about that, because you started this, you said 3 years ago. So the title of the outcome is Own the Outcome Podcast, which one thing that resonates with me with your story is how you literally did that in COVID. In COVID, and I'm sure there's plenty of times through your life where you have owned the outcome. And I look at own the outcome as you can't control the outcome, but you can control the actions you do today to blow past any outcome that you have in your mind currently. And that's the point. It's like control what you can today, do what you can today, and don't let yourself, people get overwhelmed with things, and just bring it down. So 2020, this is when you started all this stuff. Were you a marketer then? Did you start studying marketing then? Did this just happen overnight because you're naturally gifted and because you wear Sunday Swagger shirts, or what's the hack?
Well, I'm aggressive in learning. So, and I like to call it hyper learning. I believe you can hyper learn any subject in 60 days. And that means you don't watch Netflix, you don't do any extracurricular activities, as far as if you want to really truly learn something as fast as possible. With Google, YouTube, books, whatever you want to learn, if you study it over the next 60 days, and I'm not saying, you get rid of your family or anything like that, but I'm just saying, don't sit there and watch an hour or two of Netflix every night. You watch an hour or two of the subject you're trying to learn. So I was in financial services. I worked with all the teachers on retirement planning in Dallas School District. I had a contract with them, which was a very captive audience. Like once you get a contract with the school district, I was allowed to market to their teachers to help them with retirement planning. And you know what? 99% of them had no clue how to plan for retirement. So it was a very lucrative business because I had a captive audience. I was approved. I could help them set up retirement accounts. It was payroll deduction, so I didn't have to worry about missed payments or things like that, right?
Yeah.
And they could contribute pre-tax, and so it was a huge benefit to them. Plus, also we could back them into retirement. But I always started with the end. So owning the outcome, I always start with the end game on their retirement. I was like, how many years do you want to, when do you want to retire? At what age, and how much money do you need? That was the outcome. And then now we got to reverse engineer that, right?
Yep.
And so we would work through that, and they would realize, oh, wait, I've only got to do $200, $300, $400 a month to kind of get to those goals. And it wasn't we were trying to save for their whole retirement. We were trying to close the gap on their pension. So every teacher would get a pension after a certain amount of time.
Yep.
But it never really covered 100% of their income.
Sure.
And they didn't know that. So all we had to do was cover 20, 30, 40%, to make up the difference. And that's really small if you start earlier, right?
Yep.
So 2020, school shut down. And I was living my best life because I worked 8 months of the year. I worked a teacher schedule, but had 5 times the teacher's income.
Yeah.
So, my best year was probably about $280,000, but I only worked 8 months, and I traveled the world. I went to 24 countries inside of 3 years.
It's amazing.
And then all of a sudden, the world shuts down. And so what happened was over 2020, I'm sitting there, I find myself at 41 years old asking myself, well, how do I start over without starting over? That was the big question. Like, what do I do? I'd been in sales for 20 years, love sales. But what I realized is that I was tired of prospecting because I was always the best prospector, which is why I was always the best at sales.
Yep.
Throughout all the different industries I've been in. Whatever it was, I hyper-learned. So, I sold gym memberships. I sold cell phones at Costco. Like when you walk into Costco, that little booth there, I was doing that in 2006 because I was in the military. I was in Iraq as well. And whenever I came home, that's what I got into just to get a job, selling cell phones. I got into pharmaceuticals, and then I started the financial services business. But each time, I looked at a very simple formula for success. Who's at the top? How did they get there? How can I model that? How can I adjust it to fit my personality? And then can I beat them?
Okay, say it again, bro, because that is absolute gold, what you just said. That's literally a framework of success.
Yeah,
I love it.
whatever you're doing, whatever industry you're in, it doesn't matter. Multifamily, real estate agent, selling cell phones at Costco. Who's at the top?
Yeah.
How did they get there? How can I model it, not copy? How can I model it?
Big difference.
Yep. How do I adjust it to fit my personality?
Yep.
And then can I beat them?
Yep.
And so when I did this in gym memberships, cell phones, pharmaceuticals, and even whenever I got into financial services, I figured out the first week, I was like, okay, who's the best? Okay, and then I would call them. Or I'd say, hey, can I come to your store? Or hey, can I pick your brain? Okay, how did you get to the top? And I would just ask them. They say, well, I do this and this. And then I would say, hey, can I come hang out with you? Can I come just hang out for a day or whatever? And everyone was always blown away. They're like, nobody's ever asked me that before, And I was like, yeah. So I'd sit there and I'd just hang out for a day or two on my own time, my own dime, and I would sit there and watch. And I'd say, okay, I could do that. I could do that. I really don't like the way they do that. I like the way they do that. Okay, I see really it's pretty simple. Okay, and I'm going to go back and adjust it now to fit my personality.
And are you like picking their mind throughout the day? Are you just kind of sitting back and watching, observing? Like,
yeah, I mean, a little bit of both. So it was a little bit of both. Gym membership, I was fortunate enough to be in the same room with the guy, so I was able to watch one-on-one there. Cell phones, I had to go to that store for that day on my day off. So I went to the Costco store where the top salesperson was, and I just kind of sat back. I didn't bother him, didn't get in the way, didn't try to interject, didn't try to throw in my 2 cents. I just sat back like I was a shopper, just kind of looking around within eardrop, and would just sit there and listen, talk to people. Whenever I moved into pharmaceuticals, the top rep was in Oklahoma, a 3-hour drive from Dallas. And I asked my manager, I said, hey, can I do all of my calls Monday through Thursday? And on Friday, can I go drive up and meet with Brian, the top agent in Oklahoma? He was #1 in the country in Oklahoma, right? So it's like, oh, okay. And my manager was like, well, nobody's ever asked me that before. So I went up there. I got up at like 4 a.m, drove because he was starting his day at 7 to meet him at 7 a.m. And then I just rode in the car with him. He watched him talk to doctors, and I was just like, okay, I can do that,
Hey, bro, I followed the same thing. Like, I wanted to speak for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so I'd go to all these conferences and watch speakers, and I'm learning from the speaker, but I would, like, literally, bro, I have notes and notes and notes of well, like what you said, I like how they did this. I didn't like how they did this. I think I'd approach this different. And bro, this is like, I'm like 21.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna give me this speaking role all of a sudden, but I am preparing for it, you know? And so like when I finally got that opportunity, I have been thinking about this for a decade. Now, hopefully nobody has to wait a decade, but it's like, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Multifamily space, same thing. How to raise money from investors? Well, I'd jump on the phone with my coach who had actually raised money and just listened how they did it, you know? Yeah.
Well, same thing like with speaking. So Alex and I, when we're at these events, we're sitting in the audience, you know, before I speak. So when we're sitting there, we'll game plan too, because, you know, and he's looking at things from a videography standpoint. So how do we capture the best content? He'll literally, like one time there was a dark spot on stage. And we noticed like all the speakers were standing on this side of the stage and it was missing a light. So they were literally in a shadow. So every time they were on this side of the stage, he goes, hey, just make sure you stand to the left side of the stage. So something like that, because if we want good content out of it, I mean, that's the whole reason to bring your videographer, right?
Yep.
So if you're going to go through that time, that energy, that expense, I mean, make the most of it. And then we'll sit there and look at best spots. I noticed I got the opportunity to speak at this conference, 6,000 people. Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Gary Brecka. And I'm sitting there and I noticed, I was like, you know what, these big conferences, when you got that many people, how do you really connect with somebody, right? And they're always they're always looking at the front row because that's usually all you can see because the lights are so bright. Well, I realized in the prep they had like a speakers meeting beforehand, and you know there was a camera in the back that shows up on the big screen, which is what most people watch. Even people in the front row sometimes will watch the big screen, right, instead of the person right in front of you. Well, it had a giant red dot on it, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look at that red dot. That's all I could see. It's like completely blacked out the audience, but if I look at that red dot, this is what I tell people whenever I make YouTube videos. When I make YouTube videos, I stare dead in that camera because you want that eye-to-eye contact, that connection. So I was like, if I'm going to speak in front of 6,000 people and I look at that red dot, which is all I can see, the audience, when they're looking at that screen, it's going to look like I'm making eye contact. I could not tell you how many people came up to me afterwards and were like,
"That's so
Levi,
good.
I felt so connected." I mean, they would say these things, you know, I felt so connected. I felt like you were talking to me the whole time because I just stared at that red dot and,
Brother,
and it connected with.
I just learned something from you that is, that's gold for me.
Yeah.
Because I very much look at the front row. And you're right, the lights are blinding. It's like, but that is gold right there. Because that's what you want to do. You want to connect. Like that's the whole reason you're going out there is to connect and help. I love that, bro.
And everyone in the front row are the highest ticket price. You know, they may not be really your target audience as well. Except, I mean, if you're trying to raise capital, they probably are. But at the same time, everybody in that audience is really your ideal target audience, who you're talking to, right? Because usually you're talking to people about getting started, getting going, the journey, getting into it, you know, making that next progression. So if you want to connect with everybody, anytime you speak, say, where's the main camera? You know, where's the main, how can I see it? And usually they do have and that's what I noticed after that was that most of them have a red dot or something on there that you can see through all the black, you know.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100%
So,
using
yeah,
that.
so that's it. So that's whenever we go to speaking events, things like that. I mean, you can YouTube how to speak. And so going back to your original question, how did I learn this? Well, when I sat there over 2020 during the summer when the whole world shut down, I didn't watch Tiger King, okay? So I was probably maybe the only person that didn't watch Tiger King.
Hey, same.
And because I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what's my next move? I'm not going to get a job because I don't want a job, but also there's 30 million layoffs. So who's hiring? What business do you start in the middle of a pandemic? And, you know, I've just got really good friends in the real estate business that are agents, but they've been in the game for 15, 18 years. They're all successful. They're not opening doors or anything. So, you know, and they're like, you should be an agent. You know, they know my skill set. They know how I am as a person. And I was just like, man, I don't want to be a real estate agent. I don't want to start over. I don't want to, you know, knock doors or cold call. Not that I would have to do that. I didn't want to have to shake hands and kiss babies, so to speak, you know. I was terrified of that. I was kind of like, I'm a little bit over prospecting now. I've always been the most aggressive prospector. And that's the other thing. Once I took away learning something from somebody, I just went out and then I overcompensated on prospecting. So I was just always willing to talk to more people.
Work.
Yeah. And so the part was I just started to research. And instead of getting into real estate and then figuring out a plan, which a lot of people do that. I said, let me see if I can figure out a plan, and I'll get into real estate. I'll get my license. And this word attraction was just stuck in my mind. I was just thinking, like, is there a way to attract business? Because I didn't want to pursue it necessarily. Yeah, and although you have to pursue business,
Sure.
right? It's an oxymoron. I mean, it's a catch-22. You're like, okay, all right. So is there a way to attract business? And I was 41, as I said, as well, and so I had that love-hate relationship with social media. I never really had I never had a presence on there because I didn't grow up with it in high school. Wasn't there in my 20s. It came around my late 20s. Yep. And then what did I do? I said, well, everybody's just bragging, posting their lunch, and silly cat videos, right? That's what social media is.
Yeah.
It's silly, right? So I dismissed it. But then I'm sitting there going, wait a second. Now I'm seeing these 20 and 30-year-olds making some money off of social. Yep. Quickly, if you've got the right system in place, right? So I said, okay, it's probably going to be social, but which platform? Here's another big mistake that, especially you get into real estate or probably any type of business. Somebody tells you, okay, congratulations, you got your license or you're now in business. Make sure you're everywhere.
Yeah.
You got to open your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, your TikTok, all right? And people do that. They go, okay, and they get all excited because it feels good to open an account, right?
Sure.
Open a social media account. And then now, what happens? You're putting about 20% effort across 5 different platforms.
Yep.
And you never truly understand one platform.
Because it's not just posting. It's exactly what you just said. It's not just posting. It's the understanding, the strategy behind it, and the engagement behind it.
Right.
Because you want to be able to engage. And if you're everywhere, you're nowhere.
Yep.
That's beautiful, bro.
Yep. So I understood that, and I said, okay, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose one platform. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to hyperlearn. I'm going to apply my same formula as before, which is I'm going to hyperlearn a platform because I understood if I want to be successful, I do need to understand the back end, the analytics, the data, like how does it work? Yep. Not become borderline obsessed, but at the same time, I just need to get a grasp so then I can build out a business plan. So I looked at, and I went through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok first, because that's what everybody was telling me to do, especially TikTok in 2020. Like every real estate agent was waking up to 10,000 followers. They post one video, hi, my name is Levi, I'm a real estate agent. And all of a sudden they had 10,000 followers and they're like, oh, this is great, it works.
Yep.
But I didn't really see people turning over a significant amount of business from that. So I said, okay, YouTube was really my last choice. But once I started to research it, I understood it's a search engine, not a social media platform. And so I was like, you know what, that's interesting.
That's important for people to understand.
It's a search engine, it's not a social media platform.
Yep.
If I create a YouTube channel, because the other thing I didn't want to do is at 41 years old be like, hey everybody, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. Make sure you call me to buy, that typical Facebook post you see whenever somebody gets into real estate and they're like, and then they get mad at their friends and family because they use somebody else that's more experienced and better at the job and things like that. So I was like, well, look, if I create a YouTube channel, nobody's going to know about it, right? Except for the people that are searching for this. So I also don't have to really put myself out there, get the scrutiny or try to market myself to friends and family. My friends and family were not my target audience because what I realized is that people are searching this information. I just need to get in front of them.
Bro, this is so good. And I'm like, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because I knew that you would resonate with my audience. And as you're saying what you're saying right here, like I know what my students, I know what they struggle with, right? And one of them is that, putting themselves out there, talking to family and friends. And like nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be like this MLM or this whatever. And so what do? Well, nothing a lot of times. So like this side of it, like, dude, you're not talking to your family and friends. It's not your target. You're talking to
researchers.
Yeah, who's your target? And then you literally talk to them and those people will find you because it's a search engine. You had mentioned they're either going to they're not going to go to Instagram to search for a realtor. They're going to go to YouTube or Google. But guess what? If you go to Google, guess what else pops up?
YouTube videos, yeah. Well, and the thing is that they're not even they're never really searching for a realtor. What I like to say is we capture people in the research phase before they've ever decided to hire a realtor or even a mortgage officer. So if you're a mortgage officer, you should be doing this exact same content because every mortgage officer makes content about mortgages. And guess who watches that content? Somebody who's under contract with somebody else.
Yeah.
So you're making content for people already under contract with somebody else. And you know what? They probably had a problem or something went wrong in their mortgage process, which is why they're now researching them. Because nobody says, hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. What loan should we get?
Yep.
Who says that?
Yep.
No, they're like, what area are we going to move to? What's the best school system for our kids? You know, where's the coolest spot in town? Those are the questions they're asking. And they're not saying, what real estate agent should we hire? Who's going to be best for the job? They're like, no. And so we capture them in the research phase before they've made those decisions. And then guess what? We just become their agent by default.
Yes. Bro,
because
that
they
is
watch
so
so
good.
much content, right? The video builds the relationship for us.
Yeah.
So whenever they call us, they've already made a decision that they want to work with us.
You know what's cool, bro, is I saw one of your, I think it was one of your social media videos, but hearing you say this reminds me of it because you said something like, they're watching us on their TVs or they're watching us, you know, on their couch, but together as a couple or in their bed, I think is what you said or something like that. And it's like, that's so true. Like they are literally watching these things together because it's something that they're going to be doing together. That alone is powerful.
Yeah, so if you look at the back-end analytics of our YouTube channel, so if you look at the stats, they say 80% of the traffic, maybe even more online, is from mobile devices. Okay, so everybody's on their phones. But if you look at the analytics of our channel, 55% of the traffic comes from TV, computer, and tablet. Those are research devices. Because what do you do when you want to research?
Big screen.
Yeah, big screen, want to sit down, I want to get comfortable, I'm going to be locked in for an hour or two, right? I'm ready to consume long-form content, long-form information, I've got to research. And if you're about to move, that's a big deal. So 30% of the traffic comes from TV. So that means people are sitting on their couch, because where are the TVs? They're in the living room or they're in the bedroom. That's it. So they're sitting on a couch or they're laying in bed watching our videos, and they're likely with the spouse, who's likely the decision maker. And even the kids. Like kids will be on our Zoom calls because they can book on our Zoom calendars. Kids will be on our Zoom calls like, it's wow, you know, we're talking to the YouTuber. Yeah, we're talking to the YouTuber. So the kids will watch the video. You know, if you ask your 8-year-old, hey, you want to research our next move? They're going to be like, no. Hey, you want to watch some YouTube videos?
They're like,
yeah. Hey, think about how you could help your kids. Most kids are traumatized with moving. But then you start showing them videos, and they start seeing all these cool videos about Dallas, Texas, and they get to meet a YouTuber and things like that. I mean, you know, now they're like, hey, we want to move there. Oh, that looks cool. Okay, that looks awesome. You know, now you can get them bought in as well with you. So it's all part of that process.
So you know what I realized that you've done masterfully is you have envisioned who this person is, where they are, what they're doing, who's with them, which means when you're recording content, tell me if I'm wrong, when you're recording content, you have that in your mind. Where are they watching it? Who are they with? What are they doing? And that's why they connect with you. Am I wrong? No,
absolutely. And I'm in Texas. You know, you're here in Florida now. 2 biggest relocation states in the country. So what do I always talk? I always talk about, you know, we're talking to people just like you from California, Illinois, New York, Washington State. I'll drop those state names typically in my videos because guess who's calling us? All those people trying to get out of those high restrictive, high taxed, high regulated, you know, areas, and they're just, I'm over this, so I got to get out. And I'm always talking about freedom friendly, business friendly, tax friendly environment. Yeah, come on over. Why do you think Elon's moving to Texas? Why do you think you know, Hewlett Packard's moving to Texas? Goldman Sachs. I mean, these corporations are moving there, bringing 3,000, 5,000 jobs. You know, employees moving the transition. Why do you think they're doing it? Yeah, they may talk all this talk, but whenever it comes down to paying taxes and everything else, they want to be in the best environment for their company. So yeah, I say those things in the video all the time.
So good, man. There's so much gold. Like, and I know this, bro, because I have been putting out content, and I have went through the grind, and I have, you know, done some organic, but you know what? I've done a lot of paid. And so hearing your so when I do the paid stuff, it's very targeted. Bro, I'm so targeted. Similar. But when I'm doing my organic content, I'll just be honest, I'm not as targeted. I'm not as calculated as you are, not even remotely close.
Well, I would say we do paid as well, but we do it on Facebook and Instagram. So on the real estate channel, we've never run a single ad on YouTube, and I don't recommend that. Now, it's going to take longer to grow. Organic takes longer. See, when we do paid, we want to speed things up, right? And I think there's an opportunity for that, because if I tried to build my brand, my coaching brand, organically, that would take forever. And then I'm in direct competition. Then I am competing against your ads or Cardone ads or even Tony Robbins ads or whatever the case may be, right? And so I knew to grow that side of the business, there's a much faster path to do that versus organic. Now, real estate, that was something I wanted to be patient on. I wanted the algorithm to work for that. That's the way to do that through YouTube. Trying to do that organically on Instagram or Facebook, though, as well. I mean, the thing is that they're not content creator friendly platforms, in my opinion. They're pay to play. So when's the last time somebody said, man, you know, I just came across your Facebook post from 6 months ago and it just really resonated with me? No. I mean, you post on those platforms, they're gone in 24 hours. And on Facebook, 5% of your audience may see that. It doesn't even go to 95% of your audience. You could have 5,000 friends, all the followers you want, doesn't matter. I mean, in my own Facebook group, you know, we've got 4,000 people in our Facebook group. I make a post and it says like 500 post reach. Like, I don't even get reach in my own Facebook group.
Same,
you know?
bro. Same.
So it's you know, but I'll kick up a lot of response, and then as people comment, it kind of helps. But you know, it's just interesting to watch those types of things. So but YouTube is all about time on platform. They want to keep people on the platform as long as possible. They're going to recommend videos. YouTube doesn't push your videos to anybody. They pull the best video for the viewer. So if you're creating that content, and the way we optimize videos and focus in on key search terms, as soon as somebody types in Dallas, Texas or Frisco, Texas, we're going to own that. You know, we're going to pop up within the top 5, usually 2 to 3 videos in the top 5 of search results. People usually choose out of the top 5 videos whenever they search something. So if we have 2 or 3 of those spots, we automatically look like the authority.
And how do you get there? What do you do to get there?
Optimization.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, that's a lot on the back end. It's probably more of a visual component to show you, but otherwise it goes with the tags, the titles, the description, the metadata, the geotagging, all that stuff on the back end of YouTube. The thing is that people will upload a video to YouTube and upload a video. Maybe they write a little bit of description, or maybe they have their calls to action or links on there. And there's so much more to that.
But what's your title? Because I learned this from you, bro, because my titles, you go look at my YouTube, organic stuff, your titles are what they're searching, correct? And it's again in your descriptions. So mine was not. I mean, it's literally just whatever a creative title is that we come up with. I don't know.
So I mean, if it's Frisco, Texas, if that's the area we're targeting, we're going to have Frisco, Texas, probably at least twice in that title. And we're thinking about what are they searching. So we'll actually look for volume of searches based on certain key phrases. Then once we get into the description really needs about a 250-word miniature blog post. So that's it as well. So that's at the top of our descriptions. Then throughout there, we have other key things placed throughout the description. Plus, there's a lot of boxes to check and uncheck and to fill in. And I'll just say this, look, if YouTube has a box, you fill it in. Right? So speak to it. That people always talk about the algorithm. The algorithm reads words and letters. So if you spell things out, you know, clearly, the algorithm's going to read that. It also reads thumbnails. You know, I mean, it has a tremendous AI system built into it. So everything you do matters, and it all adds up. So we've just kind of cracked that code on how to do that to get videos ranked. I was showing this example yesterday. There's a news video on McKinney, Texas, where the newscaster, they were doing the temperatures in McKinney, and it said 101,000 degrees in McKinney instead of 101. And so he was talking through, and he's like, oh my goodness, we're all going to die in McKinney, you know? And so it was a viral video, over 1 million views on YouTube. And then, but if you search McKinney, Texas, our video is above that. You know, 15,000 views, okay? But we outrank them because it's not about views to YouTube. It's about putting the right video in front of the right person. So if somebody searches McKinney, Texas, they probably could care less about the temperature or the fact that they posted the wrong temperature on a news. So yes, it went viral. People probably shared it. But if people are typing in McKinney, Texas, that's probably not what they're looking for. They realize that our videos, based on like a city tour of McKinney, Texas. Plus, it's not just real estate. Because we do these city tours and things like that, anybody who's interested in the city, maybe they're going there to travel. Maybe they're just looking for things to do. So our video captures, more intentional people based on what that is. Not going to have the highest views. We're not going to go viral. We're not trying to, actually. Yeah. We're not trying to. So I'm just worried about getting that video put in front of the right people.
Okay, and it's the connection. That's so good, man. I have a question for you on that, though. So, by the way, if you can't tell, Levi has a freaking wealth of knowledge, man. And his book, tell them the name of your book.
Passive Prospecting.
I should have just said it, but Passive Prospecting came out last March.
In March, yep.
It's almost a year ago.
Almost, yeah. We're still number 10 on Amazon in social media for business. And we've been in the top 10 all year, which is absolutely amazing.
Incredible,
because
bro.
Hormozi owns like the top 4 or 5 spots.
Sure.
And we're up there with like YouTube Secrets and YouTube Formula, which those are the 2 best books. And going back to the hyper learning phase, this is it. For whoever, if you're trying to get good at multifamily right now, this is what you need to do. Is you need to go onto Amazon, type in multifamily investment, and guess what? 1,000 books are going to pop up. Well, you can sort by release date, reviews, do something, and buy the top 10 books. Do that. Get 10 books. Now you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to type in multifamily investment. Guess who's going to pop up? Probably Tyler, probably these other people, right? So you go to his channel, you start watching videos, you watch YouTube videos instead of watching Netflix. You read these books, you go through them and read them as fast as possible. What I like to do now is even download the Audible, because I start to read and I'll lose my place on a page sometimes. So now I just listen to the Audible and read at the same time.
That's what I do too, bro. It's a hack. That's a hack.
And do 1 chapter a day. Just do 1 chapter a day. It's a 14-chapter book. You're going to finish it in 2 weeks. And that'll be much faster if you just stick to a chapter a day. You want to digest that content in that chapter for that day. And it's very manageable. It may take you 20 minutes. So it's time efficient. You're digesting the information, and you'll finish that book if you just stick to a chapter a day. And then you'll get through 5 or 10 books easily within 2 months or so, and you can even speed that up maybe on a Saturday. Watch videos, hyperlearn. Study everything you can. Watch the videos. If there's a conference in your area, go to the conference if you don't have to travel. Look at if there's a conference coming up and go there. And that's what I did when I wanted to get into multifamily, about a year and a half ago. That's what I did. Bought books. But here's what I did though too. I didn't want to hyperlearn multifamily. It's not a primary focus for me right now. It's a side hustle, you could say, but also I'm interested in the LP side because I'm so focused on my real estate and my coaching business right now. I'm not trying to become a master multifamily investor. Actually, my goal is to get into every deal possible on the LP side over the next 5 years. And last year I was able to drop 150K in some deals. This year my goal is to do 300K into some deals. And then, hopefully by the year 3, I can do 4 to 5. So that's the goal. And so at 5 years, I know that refinancing is probably going to start kicking in, maybe even sell off, whatever the case may be. I'm really looking forward to that refinancing opportunity. Because if I start getting my initial capital back between the year 3 and year 5, I'm just going to start flipping that money. But what did I do? A year and a half ago, I went to a Brad Sumrock conference, because it was right there in Dallas. I went to the next Grant Cardone, the real estate, what he calls it, the real estate summit, I think, which is really just focused on real estate. And it's a very intimate conference, and then I bought a couple of books. I bought a couple of audio books to listen to. I didn't try to hyper learn it. I just said, I'm just going to start digesting the information, and I'm going to stack some cash on the side. So whenever the next opportunity, if something comes up, then I'll be ready for that. And then sure enough, all of a sudden, and I wrote out a goal too. Here's the other things. I write out goals every day. One-liners. So I have like the little 8.5 by 5 by 5, the 5 by 5 by 8.5 little book, kind of like what you just gave me in the swag bag. You have, it's about that size, right? It has 27 lines on there. And I have a goal per line. And it's kind of like part goals, part affirmation, part, income. So it's really like spiritual, personal, and business goals that I have written out on there that I write out every day. And whenever I achieve a goal, I make a new goal. I leave it off. But otherwise, I write it every single day. And at the beginning of 2023, I wrote, I invest in 500 doors this year.
Love it.
and had no idea. I was like, I don't know how that's going to happen, how it's going to work. I'm just going to keep, reading a couple of books. I'm going to listen to some audiobooks. I'm going to watch a couple of YouTube videos, not hyper learning. I'm not trying to condense all this into 60 days, but just be ready. And sure enough, inside of third quarter of last year, I got an opportunity to invest. I'm in now 4 different deals, 752 doors, like 75 million in total assets that I'm involved in just like that, because I just started the education process. I started to talk to people, I started to read, started to listen to some audiobooks. It just took about a year and a half before, boom, that first deal dropped. But now I get it. Now things are making sense. Now that I'm in the deals, they're giving us updates. I'm seeing the numbers. So it's starting to fall into place. I don't know all the multifamily terms out there. I still couldn't even tell you NOI, how to calculate that necessarily. I just know that when they tell me it's good, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a good number. Cap rates, but I'm picking up on it. I can understand it, but I just know that, okay, what's the multiplier, right? What's how do I get the cost segregation out of this? How do I do the advanced appreciation, depreciation? All that's what matters to me. And so now, and then I can get in on the LP side where I don't really have responsibility. What better could I invest my money into right now than multifamily apartments?
Especially with the landscape.
I mean, dude, I invested. I got into Bitcoin, all this other crap. I couldn't tell you where my money is. It's all lost on ledgers and platforms and all this stuff. Like these keys that are 500 alphabet long. I can't get into this stuff. I know I've got like 150K in crypto somewhere. But I can't access it. Anywhere. I can't. Where is it at? All that stuff is so complicated to me. But it's funny just because, I start listening to people and I've never been a stock guy either. And then you listen to someone like Cardone and he'll say, look, I don't invest in stocks. I invest in, I like buildings. You can't move those buildings. They sit in one place. Hard assets. And then I see your content on there and, say the same things. And I'm just like, okay. And then I see your story as well, how you went so fast, because it's just a process. And everything's a compound effect.
That's it.
Everything's a compound effect. And you have to stick through that ramp up, that slow part, that, that grinding part of it. Now deals are a lot easier for you, more opportunities and things like that. So, and that's where I want to be. I want to be on the LP side
I wish that, I wish I would have read your book and had this conversation before, because then my content would have been in front of you before. You'd be passively invested in our deals, man. We're going to have to change that. But dude, I'll tell you.
I'm happy to get in some, so.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Get me on, I need to get on your list, yeah.
Well, it's already, we already got your info. He's definitely on the list. So. But dude, with what you said, then I'm going to wrap up and ask a question, but I look at the frameworks that you've rolled out, because what you've done this entire podcast, I just want everyone to recognize and understand, you've literally dialed in different frameworks for different sections of success. I'm going to go back to 2020, because you said that you didn't, and it's funny, bro, because I say that same line, I'll say, I didn't watch Tiger King, binge Netflix and shit. Like, I dove in, and that's exactly what I did. What I would do, bro, is I got office space, not this office space. We're talking like a literal windowless office. I'd never had office space in my life. And I would read. I didn't know what I was going to be doing, or I knew that I'm still going to be investing and working on my investment company, but I know I needed to do something because I saw disruption. I'd been waiting for some sort of disruption. It made me pumped. So I would read, but then after I would read, I would literally write out what I learned from that section and how I would regurgitate or how I would apply, not knowing anything that I'm going to do with that. Sometimes I would record a video, but I had never, spoken in front of a camera like that. Like, I had posted about my family and stuff, but I did not post about my business, bro. But I start talking about mindset things and what I'm learning about and real estate and just do all those kind of things, and it was beautiful. But it's the same thing, bro, that you did. It is digesting content, actually learning, then applying, from learning from, once again, people who are already way above me. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So my question to you, your scalability is also phenomenal, and I love that you ended that last bit with saying there's a grind period.
Yeah.
Most people don't get through the grind period. Like, I've been able to compound wealth because I many grind periods, but then what I make actively, or as much as I can, invest passively. That's how I've compounded it. It hasn't been from just buying apartments with other people's money. That's been great, but dude, it's putting my own money into those apartments, and that's how it's compounded and grown, which is beautiful. My question to you, you have these goals that you're writing down, right? So twofold question, and we'll wrap it up this way. Are those goals, is there a certain time frame with the goals? Is it like a yearly goal? Is it a quarterly goal? Is it a monthly goal? Is it a 3-year goal? Is it all over the board? That's question one. And then question two, what is next? What are your future goals for Levi, man? What are you working towards now?
I mean, usually they're within the year, so I'm trying to accomplish something for 2024. So my goal for 2024 is 1,400 more doors. 1,400 doors in 2024. It has a nice ring to it as well. So at 723 right now, or 754, I think, 752, actually 752, and another 1,400. So I wanted to be like over 2,000 total by the end of this year. And that's invested in. So again, I know that term can get thrown around. I've got 2,000 doors, but hey, I want to be, and I'm just dropping $50K in every deal I can as of right now. So I like that. It gives me diversity. I just want different deals, because what I want again in like 3 to 5 years is every month or every quarter, like something's getting refinanced or getting sold or getting sold, right? And I'm either hitting a multiplier or I'm getting recapitalized through refinancing. That's the goal within 3 to 5 years. And then at 5 years, if I can have all of my original capital back that I can just reinvest, then I'm just reinvesting with free money at that point, right? So that's the concept I've understood. And so, I think I typically write out for the year. But if something bleeds over and I haven't achieved that, I keep writing until I achieve that goal. So.
So hold on, that's awesome. Yeah. So it's not that you're changing or adjusting; you just continue to write it out until you get there. Yeah. I love that actually.
Okay. Yeah. So it was, even like in real estate, this last year we did. What did we do? We did 70 million in sales, and so that's right around just under 2 million in commissions. But I'm writing out that we make 200,000 a month in our real estate business, so that's about 2.4 million, right? So we didn't really hit that for 2023, but we got pretty close, and also interest rates were 7.5% to 8% the entire year. Yeah. So I would say, look, we did over $1 million in commissions just from YouTube. So I always ask people, because they're like, wait, you were down from 2022. Well, everybody was up in 2022, right? I mean, rates were 2.75. Yep. Everybody was buying a house. So, but would you have liked to have $1 million from one lead source in 2023? Whenever people are saying we're in a recession and but nobody's buying real estate? Well, we still sold $70 million worth of real estate, so somebody was buying real estate. Yep. So so I still have that same income goal for that business. Love it. My goal for passive prospecting is the goal is going to be $1 million a month. That's the goal. So we're writing that out. But the future plans, all of that is, the reality of it is that I've written out a 20-year vision, and it's a BHAG, a huge BHAG. It's one that scares you. So, and it's funny because our coach, one of our coaches on the real estate side, who works a lot more closely with Travis, he was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said something to me, because I know how good he is, and I also know he's very selective on who he works with. And I didn't even know this, but he told our team, he's like, the reason I'm still with you guys and work with you guys, because the team hadn't been doing everything they should have been doing. He asked them to do some certain things from the last meeting, not Travis, but the team, some of the team members, and they didn't follow up with that. And so he was calling them out on it. And he's like, the only reason I'm here is because of that man's 20-year vision. He goes, I know exactly, because he had asked him actually to write a vision out for 2024. And I didn't know that because I missed the last meeting because I was traveling. Yeah. And I was pissed. Like, I was sitting there thinking, he asked you to do something simple like that, to write out your 2024 vision, and nobody had done that. And he said to them, he's like, how am I going to help you get to where you want to go if you don't even know where you're going? So if you haven't written that out, if you don't understand what you're even doing in the next year, how can I coach you to anything? And I was sitting there going, man, you guys none of y'all did that. And I've not only do I have a 2024 vision, I've got a 20-year vision. Yeah. And so he's like, I know exactly where this guy's headed. I know his mindset. I know his aspirations. I know his moral compass based on his 20-year vision, because it's not just business. It's also family. It's also, spirituality. And so, and I didn't even know it had that much impact on him, And so I was like, wow. So the thing is that I love Belize, and we should talk about some Belize real estate, but I love Belize, and I had bought a beachfront lot a couple of years ago, and now I've been able to acquire, and that's what I did in 2023 as well, is I acquired 200 acres in the middle of Belize in the jungle. Yeah.
Nice.
And so the 5-year goal, so this is my 5-year vision, is to start building on that in 5 years. And it's 200 acres, right dead center of the country, along the best highway. It's called Hummingbird Highway, the most scenic highway, because Belize is jungle, palm trees, Mayan mountains, Mayan ruins. You've got the Caribbean. I mean, you've got it all. And so I want I want an eco resort, a self-sustaining, self-farming, solar-powered, rainwater-powered, farmed out, and I think about all the jobs we can create in that area, because it's a poor country, but it's well traveled, It's and the real estate opportunity there is tremendous, but I also know that potential there to be able to create that type of environment, to have a resort of I want to build single family eco homes on there, have a main restaurant, bar area, CrossFit, yoga, area, and probably and build a mastermind, spot,
Totally.
Probably open air, covered, of course, because it'll probably rain sometimes, but open air area to where we could bring in 100, 150 people, maybe start doing some yearly masterminds or quarterly masterminds down there. Because from Dallas, it's only 2.5 hour flight, and you're on Central Time Zone. So it's really simple, easy to get to. Real estate is very lucrative there, and it's just something that excites me. And I think about that, and that's the reason I'm investing everything. Like, people are, why don't you just start building in Belize right now? I'm like, well, I think that would be by addition. Multifamily is by multiplication. So if I start dropping everything I can over the next 5 years, I may be able to self-fund that whole thing if I want to. I may not have to bring on investors. And right now, if I were to start building in Belize, I'd have to build 1 or 2 or 3 homes at a time. And I would have to, and I could slowly flip that. And that could be one strategy, but I'm not wanting to deal with that right now either. So that's the power of focus, right? And I don't want to get distracted by it. It's like, I would love to do that right now, but if I build 1, 2, or 3 homes, that's the same as managing 100. Right? So, so I don't want to put that on me right now. I'd rather wait until I want to start building 100 homes out there and just start growing from there. Plus, I know in 5 years, I'm going to be in a completely different place when it comes to money, when it comes to assets. And if I want to go stay a month or 2 there, I'll be able to do that. Even like right now, like we come in for this because your team said, hey, do you want to do this on Zoom or in person? I'm like, no, I want to go there in person. First of all, I wanted to meet you in person. I wanted to see the office, I wanted to get the layout. But at the same time, I've got time to do that. I've got such a solid team in place right now, which is also why I've been able to scale so fast, is because the first 2 years of the business, Travis and I only paid ourselves $10,000 a month. That was it. We're like, what's the least minimum amount we can give ourselves? And we've reinvested into people. First of all, people. And that was something before the first 20 years. That's why I found myself starting over at age 41, because I never really invested in people or processes or systems. I was always the best salesperson myself. And every time, like when I got deployed to Iraq, guess what? Everything shut down. Nothing. I earned 0 income in the States whenever I was gone. I actually got really sick in 2013, became disabled and bedridden. And guess what? I lost my job at that time, and I didn't have any other income source. And so that was it. In 2020, I was building a business, but it was me. Me handling the accounts, me doing the outbound, the outreach, and doing it. And then whenever 2020, when all that shut down, was like, well, nothing's in place. I don't have a team in place. So I realized that as well. And I realized, okay, This time I can't be the person that says, if I want it done right, I've got to do it myself, right? Yeah. And I heard Ryan Pineda say one time, he's like, look, if I can just hire to somebody that has 70% of my capability, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I've got high standards, but that should be for myself. And it is for other people as well, but I also got to understand that, we're the type A's, right? You and me, we're the drivers. Yeah. And I just have to realize too that, not everybody's running at that speed right now. So, but that's okay, because guess what? I mean, I'm not paying them exactly what I'm making either. So I can't expect, that's something I heard Gary Vee say as well. He's like, why should somebody do exactly what you're doing? You're not paying them what you're paying yourself, right? Yeah. I mean, they're not earning what the business is earning. You're paying them a salary or whatever the position may be. So those types of perspectives made me realize, okay, I need to lighten up, back off, and I need to invest in people, and I need to help them grow, and I need to help them be successful in their lives. Because you know what? Some people are happy with the salary. They're happy with the 9 to 5. They're happy with just doing, things for their family. They like the weekends off, and I get it. So I've got to attract those people, right? And I learned about operators in a business. Yeah. Visionary versus operator. Yep. I thought I always had to be the both. Yep. And that was something else I heard Pineda say, which he was like, he doesn't start something until he has the operator in place. Who's going to run that business? Who's going to start it? So, and I was just like, oh, gee, that's genius, right? Like I always thought I had to start it. I had to bootstrap it. I had to work in the business to get it off the ground. It's like, no, it's just like being an LP on multifamily deals. I'm like, wait a second, I can throw in money and I don't have to raise capital, do the management, place tenants, run the books. Okay, cool. I get all the benefits of being in the deal, but I don't have to, it doesn't take my time or energy or effort. Yeah. So that's what attracted me to multifamily. And I know that if I can drop in, like I said, I did 150 last year, if I can do 300 this year, by the next year, 4 to 5, and I maintain that over the next 5 years, that's going to compound. Totally. Because here's my biggest mistake on multifamily, why I didn't get in sooner, is I always looked at the yearly return. So if the yearly return was 7%, I would be like, why would I give somebody $100,000 to make $7,000 a year? Yep. I would rather, I always thought that's kind of silly. Well, I'm like, now that's just like one little tiny component of the whole deal. Yep. And then you look at cost segregation, the depreciation opportunities, the refinancing opportunities. Like that's what I'm most excited about. Yes. Is refinancing, recapitalizing. If they do sell off, I'm indifferent. Well, if you sell off, okay, cool. I'll flip that money. I'll take the multiplier. Now that I understand all that stuff, like the annualized return is just a bonus, Yeah. And so, it's just understanding. And again, if you keep your education up and you start learning those types of things, then it's a whole different ball game. So that's the goal in 5 years. I've got a bigger 20-year vision, but on the educational side, yeah, we're pushing this. We've got a big goal this year. Yeah. And so, and again, we started with the outcome. Where do we want to be at the end of the year? And we reverse engineered that into quarterly goals and then broke those quarterly goals into monthly goals. Yep. And that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the education side. I don't open doors. I don't write contracts. I don't talk to clients even, that come in. That all goes to the team. They handle all of that. And not a single client has ever said, I'm not going to work with you because you're not showing me the homes. I mean, how many of you bank with JP Morgan Chase and know you're not going to talk to JP Morgan? Totally. Exactly, right? So the brand is in place. And that's what we've done on YouTube is we've built the brand in place so that people don't have to talk to me. They're actually happy to be working with the team. And it's the same thing with multifamily or anything. Totally. I mean, whatever your business is, if you're a plumber, electrician, a financial advisor, you have to just start educating people. If you want investors, like what I started to do is I started to talk through our closed deals. I went on site. This last video actually got me the most investor submissions I've ever gotten so far is because we went on site to a deal we just closed. And I brought one of the GPs on that knows multifamily inside and out, right? Yeah. So I just did on-site interview style. We walked around the whole complex. That was about 30 minutes worth. And then I got with another GP who loves the numbers, and we got on a Zoom call, and I had him run us through the numbers, all the slides on the back end. That took it's a 50-minute video. Yep. And some people are scared to do that. But people are researching. They want to learn. If investors, now they're seeing that now, and then what are my calls to action? Hey, if you want to get in on our next deal, make sure you check our investor form below in the description and fill that out. And the investors, they're going to be a lot more comfortable with me versus an ad online, because now they've just watched me for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
They're going, man, they're talking me through all this. Okay, I understand why they're doing that. Oh, it's getting this type of returns, those numbers. Oh, I see that. Oh, he's in the area where so see, now there's a bigger connection, and submissions just started coming in, and I talked to those investors. I've already actually got a few of them in on our next deal.
Love it.
And I didn't have to chase them down, run them down, try to, I get them on Zoom.
You did what you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is what I want to drill in on as we wrap this one up, because you did what you do. Like, think about your scalability, bro. You started to scale when you got hyper-focused on what you do, which is to drive business to the business, drive people to the business. And then you have an operator. My operator is right across here, her name's Rowan. But you have an operator who, mans the ship and those kind of things. And it is, I believe that people stunt their growth because they feel like they need to be both. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I feel, even though I have operators in place, I feel like sometimes I am that way. Like, I need to be, where should I place? I need to be here, but I need to be, drive a business too. And then I limit and stunt the growth on both sides. Yeah. Right? And so it's a big takeaway.
So I don't know if this will help you, but like Mondays and Thursdays are my Zoom days with the team. Yeah. So that's the thing, but that's where I'm really providing the vision on that, is that we're talking through things. I like to do that because it keeps me in touch with everybody every 3 days, practically every 3 days, Mondays and Thursdays. So also I know it just, instead of like trying to run around town or create content, and then I'm like, oh, I've got a Zoom call I've got to go to. Yeah. I'm like, no, if you want to Zoom with me, it's Mondays or Thursdays.
Yep.
That's what you get.
That's the days.
The other days, I'm going to be out filming. I'm going to be creating content. I'm going to be doing my own research. I've now blocked in my calendar research time. Yeah. Because that's what I realized over the last 2 years. We started growing so fast, I stopped. I mean, there's one thing about doing things, clearly you learn, but it also helps to do a little research. And I just realized, man, I've almost stopped researching just because I was so involved and I was creating content, which we were developing a lot of things on our own, but I need some outside influence sometimes as well. Again, who's at the top? How did they get there? How can I model it? And, if I want to do something different, then I need some inspiration. You get inspiration from being out and about, from doing things, from seeing other people do something you like. You see them on stage, those types of things. You read a book. I mean, all of that is what fuels us. I mean, it's look, you may think you're doing something creative and brand new, but not likely. Somebody's probably already done that, So if you want to just shortcut that, I mean, get into a mentorship, I know you've got a mentorship, and so people should get into that. I mean, absolutely. I pay for stuff all the time.
Me too.
I paid $100K to meet with Pete Vargas.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? And if you don't know who Pete Vargas is, he's the speakers coach to Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Ed Mylett. And whenever I was going to go on stage in front of 6,000 people, I'd never done that before. But investing that amount of money with him, we spent an 8-hour day with him. He went through our business, and he's the one I actually ran the idea by of passive prospecting. Yeah. Because I was like, hey, look, I've got this idea of the brand for passive prospecting. And first of all, the URL, the website was available, which I couldn't believe. Yeah, I bought it for fucking $2, or whatever, $8, whatever it is on GoDaddy. But I typed in passive prospecting. I was like, nobody had the URL. I went onto Amazon, not a single book. The only thing that came up was Jeb Blunt's Fanatical Prospecting, which of course is like just go crazy, right? Prospect as much as possible. Opposite of. So then I ran that by Pete, and I'm like, I got this idea for branding this whole concept with passive prospecting. And as soon as I said that, he goes, that's a $100 million idea.
I love it.
And then he helped me craft my speech, my stage talk, all of that stuff. And so I never would have thought, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I thought big, but I never thought about paying somebody $100K for one day.
Yep.
And once I did that, it was one of the best investments I ever made.
Dude.
So now if somebody's like got a 5K course, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I buy courses still this day. I just bought Sean Cannell's courses, I Think Media, which he wrote YouTube Secrets, and they're a big part of how I started my journey on YouTube. He's one of the channels and the books that I researched. He's not in real estate, but the principles, the fundamentals, everything that I took away from that came from Sean Cannell, Benji Travis, that whole concept. It helped me understand. And so the other day, he was doing a bundle for new courses on YouTube, and I bought them.
Yeah.
I don't even think twice about it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, Sean Cannell's got something new out. I'm going to buy into that. And then
that's the difference.
Yeah, and some people, they get into this ego thing too, as well. And they say, well, I don't want to do that, or it's like, look, just do it. Support somebody else. Will Sean Cannell ever buy my course? Probably not. But he's had me on his podcast. And we've got a friendship, and so and there's and so it's pretty cool that all that arose. But still, and so now am I going to say, oh, he's got a new course? I don't need that. I know. No, I'm still learning YouTube.
Yeah.
I still, we're talking about this today. I'm like, I still think my Instagram sucks. You know why? Because we've never really focused on it, because I'm still trying to learn YouTube. Even though we've generated millions of dollars from it, I still don't feel like I know everything I should know about YouTube.
Sure.
And, I tell this with a lot of the people that I coach and train on YouTube. I'm like, look, everything I tell you is really a recommendation. And it's a framework, and I know you'll get results. They're not going to be the exact same results, but also the true formula is staying consistent and don't quit.
Dude, period.
Really, that's it, yeah. So how many videos should you make? How should you optimize them?
You'll figure that shit out.
Yeah, well, and I can coach you to it, but what worked for me may not work for you and your market.
That's it. It's test.
I got 10,000 views, doesn't mean you're going to get 10,000 views on the exact same video.
Yeah.
But if you stay consistent, you don't quit, I know you will be successful.
Yeah.
But you got to work through that. You got to get through that aspect of it.
That's it. Bro, thank you so much, man, for being here. I am so pumped, like legit pumped to re-listen to this one, because this whole time I'm like, God, is it inappropriate to like grab my phone or take a note? Like I had some ideas and take notes and like things that I can implement. And so like I'm pumped individually, personally to re-listen. And I don't just say that, like go listen to any of my other episodes. I don't just say that to everybody. Yeah. Like I truly am excited to go re-listen. But I'm also so pumped that y'all are here and that you listen and you pull value. So man, go buy Levi's book, go follow him, go check out his coaching programs and what he's doing. Because I'll tell you what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna go learn about his coaching program with YouTube, because that's something I wanna dial in. You should do the exact same thing. So, bro, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. And all y'all out there, live always with aloha. Peace.